What's the science behind a crypto token going up? Wouldn't you like to know, friends? I'm going to give it to you straight like a banana. You are my friend. What's the science behind it actually going up over time? Tokens go up if you have long-term believers. It's as simple as that. But, you know, believer, what's the word believer mean? We all believe in something, right? Do we? Well, there's actions and then there's words. Actions speak louder than words. Bitcoin, as of now, is the only coin in crypto, the only asset we can confirm statistically that there are long-term believers in it. So some people might get a bit sad, have a bit of a teary, but no. That just means we have opportunity. If Bitcoin can do it, something else can do it too. Maybe you and I are holding it. Maybe you and I believe in something, if you know what I mean. So long-term believers, friends, remember, tokens go up if you have long-term believers. So remember, if someone launches a token, it can just go up instantly. It can go up and it can drop. Nothing's stopping you from doing that, right? So if you look at BTC, friends, for example, BTC, if there is a coin, yeah, you can launch a coin, just goes up. Okay, but when talking about the science of these things going up over time, like, so there's a difference between this coin doing like the pump fund trash versus a coin that will do that over time, come back off, and then, you know, bear market go up over time and eventually do the BTC chart. You know exactly what I've just shown you right now. There is a difference, complete difference. What is the difference, long-term believers? A token, friends, a token only goes up consistently over time if there are people who believe in it. That is, they will buy supply and not worry about selling it anytime soon. They will put the tokens in their back pocket and walk away for a few years. Do you see that? That's a believer. The believer doesn't need to check on it. Now, of course, it's a bit of a menage a trois game. You're like, okay, the believers, right? You know, if they come in, isn't that a bit of a conflict of interest? Everyone's like, okay, who's going to be the long-term believer? Who's going to be the long-term believer? Who's going to be the long-term believer? Because everybody wants the long-term believer to come in, buy the supply so they can just go exit. That's right. So you can't game it. You can't. However, there is a distribution of short hands and long-term hands that appear in Bitcoin. You can actually track it, right? But, you know, friends, let's look at the ends of cycles. FOMO builds up because people realize there's a lot of trash, and then they see believers coins are actually winning. Let's play some pWBTC music. Oh yeah! And then people like they can't take it anymore. They're like, oh, you've been winning for so long. I just want to do this right now. What actually ends up happening is you get the pump cycle, right? The pump cycle, and then everyone gets trapped. And then when you come back down, you see all these people here. Yeah, pretty much like 75% leave. And then you have a floor. You have a floor of people that come up. Yeah, and then you hope that this floor continues up later. And a lot of these people who bought here and maybe who sold the bottom down here, they just jump back on for the ride. And then they basically, you get this positive momentum field. That's what you hope happens, right? It happens with Bitcoin all the time, right? Long-term believers will accumulate the supply and will not sell in the short run, so they hold on. This is how we see prices rise in houses, shares, and other assets. Here we have a vroom vroom in the sky, otherwise known as a plane. See that Pepe controlling the plane? Yeah, friends, that's true. So houses, shares, which are stonks linked to businesses, the meme of businesses, other assets, they only go up because people believe in it. They buy and they don't worry about selling in 2 seconds. Yes, there are short-term traders. Of course, we know 90% lose. 90% lose. And the 10% who win, it becomes like a very, very aggressive distribution as well. So you need people to see the long-term vision in a token. New people will often point to utility as a requirement for token rising, but this is false. Your friend Somi, aka me, in the mirror, I've made so much high-value content around this. I explored this myself because I wanted to know. You know, I want to know this. I go, well, hey, could I go make a $1 trillion market cap coin if I gave it all the utility in the world? No. No. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. But I give you all these examples, friends. Utility is only a little cherry on top. This is that double button meme. So like, what do you want? What do you want? Utility, right? The sweaty dude. Do you want a hammer or do you want a Louis Vuitton bag? Why do I put it like this? Because you know intuitively, you know the Louis Vuitton bag, friends, they're $5,000. The hammer's $5. You're like, what do I want? I go, hey, what do you want? You know you're gonna grab this. Yeah, you don't want the hammer. Well, there you go. You see? You're a sweaty man, aren't you? And a woman. You know what you are today. I identify as a bull. What do you identify as? So, you see that, friends? You know, you're like, I want the hammer. Hammer has more utility, right? Yeah, but it's $5, bro. You want the Louis Vuitton bag? Smells like leather. What can you hide in it? Band-Aids? Your lunchbox? Bottle of orange juice. Hopefully you got a cute little esky to keep it cold. That's about it. Can't do much with it. You can just put that in a plastic bag, by the way. So you already know that where we're leading with this. See, it's a tragedy of utility. It's a utility is a trap. The more useful something is, the more competition it will invite from everybody else to add that utility. Okay? Think about the first websites in Web 2 that let you message each other. Think about it. That was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. Now you can message anybody in like any platform you use. Not just email. Discord, telegrams, Twitteroonies. You see? Think about these amazing utility. You take it for granted now. Right? Friends, it's just like having a tap of water available. Imagine you were the only restaurant in town, right? You could basically charge whatever you wanted, yeah? But now, imagine now there's 10 restaurants. Imagine you were the only restaurant that served tap water or water, right? And no other restaurant had that. Do you think people would watch your utility and go, oh, this guy's serving water at his restaurant. Damn, I'm going to lose all competition to him. No, they start doing it immediately. You have to offer more than utility. That's the actual juice. You have to make people feel like they want something. Now, I'll give you an example, friends. Countries already work like this, right? There is no difference between the patch of grass in America and the patch of grass in Africa and the patch of grass in China. The utility of the land's the same. You can grow tomatoes. There's flat land. There's oxygen. There's water. There's a river nearby. There's an apple tree. There's an orange juice tree. Yeah, the utility's the same, right? There's no poisonous ivy around. There's no, like, that's good utility. There's no furry bears who want to come and swipe out your green candles. None of them are there in anywhere you go, pretty much. So it's the same utility. You already know, though, everybody's going to live in America and closer to the cities because people want to be there. Why? Because of the network effects. Yeah, but then you might say, oh, but the network effect is a utility. Yeah, but you're starting to get the point, you know? People just change the definition of what a utility is. So I've given an example here. A hammer costs $5. Louis Vuitton bags, $5,000. The hammer, infinite more utility. But the demand is all in the Louis Vuitton bag, friends. The demand, because friends, the demand, it makes you feel different. You know, if you're a lady, if you have a Louis Vuitton bag, you feel like you're a successful bitch. You're like, yeah, I'm successful. I'm luxury, you know? You go to the restaurant, you order your little ham and cheese croissant, you get your own little chair for your bag, and they take photos of it. They put it on Instagram. They're like, ha, 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 I'm a sexy hot bitch. Look at this. This is real. This is not fake. Do you see? This is fulfilling a need in there. It's like hitting a different spot. The utility is just like, you just want to put up a painting on the wall, right? Or you want to open up a can of beer with your hammer. You know, what else you want to do? You just knock a table around. You get it? So you're understanding the science behind the token going up. You need long-term believers, people who just see long-term value in something, right? You need a group of people who believe long-term and act. Okay, there's believers and then there's actors. right? You actually got to act. Now, what does acting look like? Well, Bitcoin has clear long-term believers. Why? It has an 89% correlation to global M2. You see this chart, friends? I've shown you this chart. Look at this, friends. Have a sniff. You see this over time? R equals 89.5. It's literally an 89% correlation. When money, global M2 goes up, Bitcoin, 89% correlation to it. That is extremely high. That is that is insanely high. Insane. What does that mean? It means they print money, people store money in Bitcoin. It means, like, don't try to measure Bitcoin by its technology or anything. It doesn't matter. The actions of the people are, when they print money, people store money in BTC. That's it. Undeniable. Statistically special. You know? So some people say, oh, but Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin's amazing and beautiful. But now that we know it's done, we're trying to find other things that can do it too. It's interesting. Very interesting. People must believe with their actions. So it's our job to find the altcoins with believers. You know, friends, some coins like BNB and you see Pump as well, they're doing like buybacks from the revenue. And Hyperliquid, yeah, they're trying to like force the money in. The best part about Bitcoin, friends, is it doesn't have any buybacks. And it was able to do the miracle run. Isn't that wild? No forced buybacks. People chose to buy it from the money printer. Money printer units, they choose to buy it. Wonderful. It doesn't rely on like a protocol to do a buy and burn or anything. That's what makes it also special. Yeah, it passes the bus test. There's no like one person you can take out in Bitcoin which makes it go to zero, right? Now, obviously, it doesn't stop at Bitcoin. We're here for altcoins because it's like the new wave of growth, the infrastructure. You can add more. It can really give you something to believe in. See, Bitcoin, it stopped at a place, no smart contracts. So, you know, people can find out ways to like, you know, like I'll give you an example, friends, privacy. Every change is probably going to have privacy. It's a utility, right? Over time, and other things that can add, you know, privacy and having credit card access and stable coins and your own meme coin culture, swapping around dexes, they enhance the effect of the city. Okay, so in almost all cases, when global liquidity drops, people flock to Bitcoin and USD. So when global liquidity, friends, when it goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When global liquidity goes down, they go into stable coins, okay? That's the tough part. When global liquidity goes down, the USD gets scarce. Yeah, the stable coins hold up. That's also why I really hope PulseChain, pWBTC, pDAI, friendship gets confirmed in that area. Otherwise, if they don't, like taking profit in a bull market, you literally, statistically, you can't go wrong in the past. If you have 50% Bitcoin, 50% USD, that's it, 50-50. Yeah, if you're taking profit along the way into those. That's why if they're on a chain, if you have those equivalents on a chain and you don't have to leave the chain, you store your value on the chain, it's like a double thumbs up, right? So here's the thing. It might change in the future as we see the first bear market resistant coins appear for altcoins. Now, very, very hard, right? Like, because in a bear market, the volume goes down. So if the tokens who rely on buybacks, they get absolutely destroyed in the bear market. 95% volume down. And then someone else competes with you because everything's open source in the next bull market. And they just add a few more features. Your community's been destroyed. People just come and join the new thing. The network effect, right? That's why it's all about the community. It's better to do the XRP model, the PulseChain model. You get the people, and then whatever out there in the world works, product market fit, you slowly just add that into your community. Yeah, because the community is the asset. The people's the asset. People out there who are chasing like application stuff, it's great for one cycle and everything, but you can just easily be copy-pasted around. Like, for example, friends, say the more popular perp dexes or just anything else gets, you will see more and more protocols just copy them and they'll add their own. And we already saw it, right? Uniswap, think about how amazing the Uniswap formula is. Now there's a DEX. Everyone just took the code and just used it on their own chain. It's such a gift to the crypto industry, the Uniswap formula. Such a gift, that technology. But now everybody has it, right? That's why you got to learn. Like, it's all about, you got to get the community around, man. If the community is the asset. Just like a nation, right? Because, like, if you have a country, let's say you live in America and your tax rates are like, whatever, 30%. because you have your family there. This is Metcalfe's law and Reed's law. You got your family there. You got schools there. You got business there. Yeah. You go to your local swimming pool. There's an ice cream store. You go to local shops. You know, the barber. They are enhancing the network effect, right? You got your own, like the family Christmases and whatever there. So because you're there, if a country from Europe says, hey, we're giving you only 5% income tax rate if you come over here, it's going to be harder for you to leave. Even though some people will, but a lot of people will still stay because they got everything there. Physically, they got everything. They still got everything in your nation. Yeah, so the community is the asset. Do you get what I mean? And let's say, like, you already know this, right? Think about how useful a hospital is. Imagine, like, another country. Imagine there weren't no hospitals. And, like, let's say one city in Switzerland made the first hospital. That would be very popular at the start, wouldn't it? Yeah, but the more popular it got, every other nation will just start deploying hospitals all over there for their people. Yeah, you got to think about it like that, right? It's different philosophies to do that. So some people really believe, you know, they're just going to chase the application-specific unicorns, which is good luck to you. It's like, man, finding a needle in a haystack. Really tough. There's so many copy-pastings, short-term seasons and narratives. Gets really tough. And there's always token unlocks. People get earlier tokens. What's a fair distribution? It's tough. It's tough. You know? But remember, we started off with what's the science behind things going up in the long run. What's the science of something going up in the long run? It's literally believers. It's got nothing to do with the tech and nothing to do with the utility. You need people to believe it. You can make a very, very, very useful coin. You could. A coin that is used for gas, gives you privacy, gives you all this access, lets you talk to KOLs, you know, lets you vote on something. It doesn't matter. No one believes in it. Not going to have any demand. No one cares. It's all about generating demand. You need to give people something to believe in. Now, you might say, hey, what's the formula for people to believe in something? That is what we're trying to figure out. That's why you and I are still early enough to crypto. We don't know all the formulas yet. That's why I've applied the archetype framework, memes, cults, religions. You start off as a meme, you grow into a cult for culture, not the satanic stuff, and then you grow into a neo-religion where people just believe in it long term. Bitcoin, people want their children to save in it, for example. You see, memes, cults, religions. Everybody's trying to put their own flavor and colors of how they think a neo-religion could form. But you got to go into a cult. There's different ways to do this, you know. There's different cults. They throw different mixtures of believing and utility and partnerships and memes and everything else out here. So, yeah, there's different. There's basically, you know, free for all. Everyone's trying to see what works and what sticks. But eventually, though, in the future, we will see the big network effects will be very hard. Yeah, but for now, we are still early enough. You are still my friend. It's a believer's cycle, okay? Believe in something. That's right. Believe in something. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you in the next one.